Hi guys, it's Christina the Walking Mama, and today I have for you how to set up a cloth diaper wash routine. Now, I have been cloth diapering for over 3 years now, and while we are potty training, we are still using diapers at night. Now, everyone's wash routine is going to be a little bit different. This is what works for us. There will definitely be differences based off of your wash routine, just because your water might have a different hardness level. You might also have a different type of washing machine than I do. But the same general method will be used for all cloth diaper wash routines. So the first thing I do after I have dealt with the poop and unstuffed all of my pockets, so I try to make sure that when I take the diaper off my daughter, I remove this piece. I normally use the wipe I just used on her behind, and I put that all in my hanging wet bag together. And this is a version of a hanging wet bag. You can see how long it is. When this is full, which is normally every third or fourth day, I will take this and upend it into my washing machine, shake it off, every single thing out of it, and then drop it in afterwards. That way this gets washed as well. Now for my first wash, you are going to do the lightest, shortest cycle that's on your washing machine. So on the one that I have now, that's normal wash. On the one that I've had before, it was quick wash. I've used one also that it was listed as short wash. But always have the highest soil level that you can, because they are heavily soiled, and the highest spin cycle that you can. For the water level, for the first wash, it's not as important as it is for the main wash, but you want to go for about a halfway full mark with your dirty laundry, just so that your washing machine works most efficiently. Most washing machines like being about half full to do a proper wash. So for the first one, I normally set it on a medium-sized load because that's what I try to go for. And I use the smallest amount of detergent that they say to use for whatever the manufacturer says. So when I was using Tide, it was line 1. Now that I use Foca, it's half a cup. Just whatever their lowest amount is, and that's just really to help get the big amounts of waste out. So the urine, the poop, helps get it all out, so that way your main wash can actually get down into the little tiny pieces and actually get those things nice and super clean, and it's not having to do the extra work of pulling all the waste itself out also. I do tend to do all of my diaper laundry in cold water, but that is a personal preference. I don't see a need to put hot water into it unless I am using a plant-based detergent. Plant-based detergents do require hot water in order to fully activate them, but I do not have to do that, so I just use cold water. That way, just in case there is any staining, I don't set it in. After the main wash is done, I will open the machine, and then I'll pull everything out of the edges. You know, when it spins, they all go out to the edge. I'll pull everything out from the edge so that it's not stuck, and I'll try to separate it out a little bit. Now, the majority of it is clean, so I don't feel bad doing this at all. I do wash my hands after, but I don't mind touching the mostly clean diapers. Now, if I'm only running a small load like I do now because we're potty training, at this point I want to make sure that I'm getting the right consistency in my washing machine. I have a very old school top loader that I actually really love because it's very effective, but it has to have the proper water level. So if I set it to a medium level, I want to make sure that when I open up the machine and I see it's agitating, it looks like a stew consistency. You don't want it to be too thin and runny like a soup, or you don't want it to be too thick like a chili. You want it in that happy little stew consistency range. So what I normally do is I will actually take some of my daughter's clothing and I'll throw that into the main wash also, so that it reaches that proper consistency. Now for this wash, I want to do the longest, strongest wash cycle that I have. For my load now, it is heavy duty wash. It is still heavy duty soil, it is still high spin, and it is still cold water. But this time I'm going to use the largest amount of detergent recommended by the manufacturer. So when I was using Tide, that was line 5. Now that I'm on Foca, I use 1.5 cups of it instead of the half a cup that I started with. I do not have hard water, so I do not need to add a water softener in, but if you do have hard water, you will definitely need to add one. Katie decided to join me for the last part of our wash routine. So after you're done in the wash, you have to dry them. Now, what I used to do is I would actually take anything with elastic. So the outside pieces of my pockets where it has elastics, or any of the all-in-ones that I have, I would take this piece out and I would line dry it so that there was less wear and tear on the elastics. Anything that was absorbent, I would try to put into the dryer, because as it is meant to absorb moisture, it takes forever to line dry. So I always put these in the dryer. These days, I will actually take and put every single piece, elastics and all, and I will put it in the dryer, and I will put it on low heat so that it doesn't damage the elastics. But after it's dry, I'll try to leave it in the dryer for at least overnight, so that when I do go to manipulate the elastics to pull them out of the dryer and start stuffing them, they're nice and cold. I try to do this, I put them in the dryer right before I go to bed at night, and that way in the morning, when I need to take them out, they're cold and I don't have to worry about it. So that is how we wash our cloth diapers. It's not a very complicated process. You run the pre-wash, pull it out, set it again, run the main wash, put them in the dryer. That's it. It's not rocket scientist. Some people go through making it a lot harder than it needs to be. Make sure you pick the right detergent, one that has no fabric softeners in it and one that does have a good strong detergent, and make sure you're using the recommended amounts. Most of the time for the pre-wash it is going to be line 1. For the main wash it will be line 5, or whatever the maximum that they say to put into your washing machine. Now, you cannot use any type of fabric softener at all. The only one that is safe as a liquid is vinegar. And then what I do actually is I have wool dryer balls that live in my dryer, and they become a fabric softener for us, and they are reusable, which I love. So if you haven't seen any of my previous cloth diaper videos, I will link them in the card above. I think it's over here. It might be over there. And make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss when we deal with what happens when they poop. Katie, can you say bye-bye? We'll see you next time.